Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we are finally going to get a look at the ultra-wide performance for the GTX 1070 and the 1080. If you remember, just the other day I did a video on the 1080, 1070, and 1060 at all three standard 16:9 resolutions, and I said we were going to be doing some 21:9 numbers, so that's what we're going to be doing here today, testing 2560 by 1080 and 3440 by 1440, which are the two most popular ultra-wide resolutions that you're going to see out there in monitors like the Acer Z35 that I am using here today and the Acer X34, which I reviewed sometime last year. It's an amazing experience, gaming on an ultra-wide monitor. No doubt about that. I'm going to be reviewing the Z35 in just a couple of days, but we're going to be taking a look here today solely at just the performance, just the benchmarks on these cards, running at stock settings, because a lot of people want to know if they're considering buying one of these monitors or buying one of these cards, is it going to be able to run the games at ultra-wide the way that I want to do it. So that's why I went ahead and tested through 17 games. I did have to trim out some of the games that I tested the other day, just because of things like, due to lack of ultra-wide support and things like that. And I also did take out the synthetic benchmark, sticking to all real-world in-game benchmarks here. So we tested the cards at stock settings in my main system, the i7 6800K, along with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and all the games are installed on an SSD, so that should really eliminate any bottlenecks that we could potentially see here. Getting a look at the real raw GPU performance of the 1070 versus the 1080 at stock settings. I just went ahead and threw them in the system. All the games are tested, like I mentioned in the previous video, max settings, no GameWorks, and for anti-aliasing, I do use FXAA when it is available. Otherwise, I don't use anything else, no MSA or anything like that. And I'm sure most of you are probably getting tired of hearing me saying that by now, so maybe we'll come up with a system in the future so we don't need to keep explaining that to new people. Any hooser, let's go ahead and roll through now with those rockin' benchmarks. Alright, so you guys got to look at the numbers there, and the GTX 1070 is certainly holding its own in the arena of ultra-wide with the GTX 1080. Obviously, the 1080 is winning out here. I mean, we all expected that, but we wanted to see what the 1070 could do as well, because I'm sure there are many people on the fence asking themselves the question, is the 1070 good enough, or do I need to go out and spend $600 or $700 on a GTX 1080? So I hope if you had that question, that these numbers would have answered that for you here today. As we saw, even at 3440 by 1440, the 1070 only fell behind in a handful of titles like Witcher 3, GTA 5, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and The Division. But even at that resolution in those titles, I would still say it was extremely playable. And if you just tweak a few settings, bring it back down to like around high on most things, not even everything, but just, most settings, tweak it down to like high, you're going to be good, man. Lower shadows or something. You probably get 60 frames immediately. It's like I've seen that in so many games where you just like take shadows from ultra to medium and like, oh, that was all I needed to do. It's insane. So yeah, the 1070 could power 3440 by 1440, no sweat. 2560 by 1080, obviously that's about half the pixels of 3440 by 1440 and only just a step up from 1080p. So if you were going to get something like the Z35, which is a 200 hertz monitor, yeah, the 1070 and the 1080 both would be amply able to power that display. Maybe not getting 200 FPS locked all the time. I can get 200 FPS in BF4 though, and God does it look sexy. And I'm going to talk about all of that more in the monitor review. But today's video is really just about the performance, as I said a couple times already. So yeah, I'm going to go get out of here because I feel like I'm kind of rambling, and you guys have already gotten the pertinent information, and I'm just kind of here because I don't have anywhere else to go. But I'm going to get out of here. See what I did there? Like, I don't have anywhere to go, but I'm going to get out of here. And I'll catch you next time. Ta-ra. We're in a kind of a quirky mood today. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to redo this take or anything. This is it. I thought about it. It came to mind. I was like, should I redo this? Just go with it. And if you are thinking about picking up the GTX 1070 or 1080, you can do so with my link down in the description below over to Amazon.